Okay, so now it's live on air. It'll be recorded, so we'll see how it goes. I couldn't get the WebEx to work, so I just decided to go with this is what I use for other teleconferences. So go for it.
All right, so one of the biggest things of confusion that I have right now is when to use F sub in and when to use F of in, if that makes sense.
Say that again. When to use
F sub in, like F with the subscript of in, or to use like the function notation of F parentheses in parentheses.
Okay, well, if you're doing a function, then by convention we use the parentheses, and when we are doing a sequence, we tend to refer to the individual terms by subscripts. It's not that critical. We just had a whole discussion with my TAs because one of my TAs told me that he had been graded like wrong for using the wrong notation. And so he was correspondingly, he took off a point for people. And I said that that wasn't necessary in the context we were talking about. But basically what will happen, let me see if I can get some kind of screen share in Pad. Let me see. Hangout Toolbox. I'll probably just do a screen share unless I can get. Nah, that doesn't help. Okay, so I'll do that. I'll do my sharing. Okay. This is a little bit of a setup thing. I'm going to try my Windows Ink. I will do a sketch pad. As you see, I was just fooling around there the other day. Clear all. Let me see if I can write on this. Okay, and now let me try a screen share. I assume you're not seeing anything other than me, maybe, right?
That is correct.
Okay, but on my screen, I can't see me, but I can see this. Let me see how to minimize this. Copy. Okay, let's try doing screen share and choose the entire screen, which is going to look goofy. And then let me do this sketchpad. Now, can you see like a screen with like writing?
Yep.
Okay, so this is all new to me. Let me go into this pen mode, and that goes, and let me delete it all. Okay, so, and just give me immediate feedback because I'm like running blind here. So basically, when we have a sequence, we tend to do the terms of the sequence are like that. Okay, we might define the whole, we might write the whole sequence as A sub n. That's short for a whole sequence. For a function, we might do f of 1, f of 2. Each one of those would be different terms of the function. What the only and each one is mappable to the other. And A sub 1 is the first term of a sequence. What we have with a sequence is basically a mapping from either the positive integers or the natural numbers. So 0 maps to the first term, 1 maps to the second term, 2 maps to the third term. So that could be like A sub 0, A sub 1, or A sub 2, or we could write it essentially equivalently like f of 0, f of 1, f of 2. The only thing that bugs me a little bit is when I say, like, let's say A sub n equals, let's do something like this, A sub n minus 1. Oh, what should we do? Plus 2. Let's just do something like that. Right? So what is that sequence? If we need an initial condition, this is a recursive formula, we need an initial condition like A sub 0 equals 1. You know, I'm just making this up. So far, so good. So I'd say if we would list out the first few terms of the sequence, it would be, let's say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? It would give me the odd numbers. And then I might ask, oh, what's a closed form or explicit? Zybook uses the term explicit. I use closed form, or what I'll say non-recursive formula. I might say A sub n, let me try and get it right, is going to be 2n, I got to say 0 maps to 1, so 2n plus 1. Okay. So you see here, this would be a recursive definition of the sequence up here. And do the highlighting. I'm just fooling around here. Look at that. Okay, this would be a recursive definition of the sequence. This would be the same sequence defined closed form.
Right. Yeah, because it doesn't include like the previous term or something like that.
Because it doesn't include what?
It doesn't include the previous term or anything like that.
Right. In other words, I mean, it's not in, right. The expression for A sub n is not in terms of a previous term. Okay. Okay. Hold. Okay. Hold on for a second. Just hold on for a second.
Okay.
The geometric form becomes
okay, so I'm back now. Sorry. So here, welcome, Cal, and this is being recorded, so for whatever it's worth. So we happen to be using the A sub notation, okay, and the only thing that like bugs me a little bit is when I say take this recursive form of a sequence and give me a, you know, explicit form, a non-recursive, then people, whoops, let me get into this. People define it in terms of F sub n equal to n plus 1. And my only issue is like, well, we're talking about a sequence, so why not stay with the sequence notation? There's nothing like inherently wrong. This defines a function that would sort of, you know, has the same nature of it. But it's just that here, this is what we use for sequence, and this form here is what we use for functions. And it should be clear. And people, you know, students don't like really, you know, like sort of write like arbitrary things. So, I mean, I get this kind of stuff. F of n equal a, 2a plus 1. And I don't know what to make of that.
Okay, I understand.
So it's not really important, critical. It's just that what you write has to make sense. And ideally, it should be in the context of whatever the question's asking. If someone, if someone is asking a question about f of n, which, and then people say, when you write your thing in terms of g of x, well, not wrong, but it's sort of an arbitrary, unnecessary change of like the whole. It's like someone asks a question in English and you answer in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not wrong, but it's just like unnecessarily weird.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you're asking because there was a comment on the grading, right?
Yeah, when I was doing the homework, I was confused on which notation to use, and I think I ended up using the opposite one on like each one or something. I like had it backwards.
Now, I'm more than happy to bring up your work to look at it.
Sure.
Okay. Now I'm going to fumble around a little bit here. I don't know, share. I'm looking at this little workspace thing here, touch writing, and I don't know, this sketchpad allows me to write, but there's no way to minimize it. I can't figure out how to minimize it. Okay, so I'll just close it. Fine. Let me bring up in this course. Okay, and I'm just, I really, and this is like the 8 point, no, I'm in.
Should be the additional exercises.
There we go. And this is going to be other people's work. So, just hold on, just don't look for a second. Okay. So let's see. Here we go. Whoops. And am I still screen sharing?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And so now, what's that? Last name is
Wells.
There we go. Okay, I'm looking. I was looking. There we go. Okay. Now tell me, are you seeing like your stuff?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Let me see if scroll that over. So tell me which number to look at.
So started 8A and 8B.
Okay.
I messed those up. I think that was really it. L and 6 I also fudged. So
okay, so f of 0 is 1. F of 1 is 3, 1/3. F of 2 is 1/9. So that looks fine. And what did he do? He took off?
yeah, I got 2 points for both part A and part B.
Basically, and like I said, we had a discussion, and I could show it to you this morning exactly about this. And I was like, they're supposed to ask me, but they don't. Yeah, it was Will. It was exactly Will. Yeah, yeah. So he said he might go back and change it. I said, it's like, don't bother. It's not worth the time. It's just a point here. And so my only issue is that it was asking in terms of the A and you did it in terms of the F. That's all. So
right.
Like if I were grading this, I probably would have done, let me see if I can get fancy and do this. Watch this if this works. I probably would have said like, well, here we go. Nope.
You just gotta select the pin. I think you have the eraser right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to. That's the eraser. You can see what I'm doing. Which one? What is that?
At the very top, like above your browser.
Oh, I got it. I'm looking at the the speed grader tools. That's why it's not working for sure. So I might have just said like that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But I wouldn't have marked it wrong. You know, that's not a big deal. Yeah, and you see, like that's all the thing is. So we did it in terms of A sub n. So it would have been nice just to put your expression. Why change? Right, you did it here. So why did you turn it into an F?
Right. Yeah.
But again, that's like, if that were the only mistake anyone was making, I would be like the happiest, happiest man alive.
All right. That was kind of, I mean, that was kind of the only thing that I had trouble with. Double summations took a little bit of time to think through.
Yeah.
Are those going to be on the test?
Yeah.
Summation? Okay. But all in all, they weren't as, too bad.
Yeah, it would be. What I'll have is sort of like what I did in the video and the exercises, something like that. Definitely not more complex, but sort of, possibly in the middle. If you can do those, you'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question about 9.
Okay. Now, do you mind if I bring yours up?
No, you can. It's fine.
Okay. And now, now I'm in write mode. Okay, get out of that. Green mode. And by the way, Cal, I think you said you were okay to take the test in Professor Jokel's section.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to you, like for sure, but basically informally, that should be okay. I wanted to offer it last time because I knew there might be a few seats, but I just didn't know, like, let's say 10 people were interested, or let's say the rest, let's say, 20 people were interested in the class. Like, what would I do? So I just sort of let it go.
Yeah.
But now that I saw that that there were only 10 or so signed up, I figured I could do it. And we had a little bit of attrition, so we had some space in that classroom.
That's good.
Okay, so tell me which number.
9.
Okay, 9 is if you're worried about 9, you're already in the advanced section. Okay, and I did spend a bunch of time going through this in the solution video. Did you happen to look at that?
Not yet, no.
Okay, that'll have, that's one of the reasons that I won't say reluctant to do this, but it was like, I did spend the time and probably on this thing in 10 minutes, I go through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I could repeat it here, but I just want to make sure that, that I do have nailed. The way that I did this, should I go on with this?
I mean, I could just watch the video solution.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy if you have something sort of more pressing, I'm happy to take care of that. Otherwise, I'm happy to talk about this for a couple of minutes.
Okay, we could do something else. Are
you interested in this, Matt?
Yeah, that kind of, yeah, I didn't have much trouble with that one.
Oh, you didn't? I did.
It definitely took some time to think through, though.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have like the more. I mean, since I'm recording this, let me be careful what I say. But it was going to be positive, because this is, and I guess you just realize that if I mean, exactly what you wrote here is perfect. This is exactly the insight, is that you know H inverse of 4 is going to be 8, which is equal to J of 4. That's perfect, perfect, perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, so now the problem is this, now I don't have the answer key in front of me, but is this wrong?
I don't know. I don't think it was.
Let me see, because oh darn it. I really have to, okay, I can't like easily manipulate the screen. Okay. So let me see what I'm just gonna hope that this is graded right. 9A. So I'm thinking J, tell me H of 8 is 4. J of 4 is 8. Okay, so very good, very good. I'm just getting my bearings here. Basically, you're applying a function and its inverse, so you're going to get what you started with.
Okay.
Okay, and so you got that right, right? H inverse of -1 is probably unknown, because now I'm going to go into this screen share screenwriting mode. Just hold on a second. Wrong one. Okay. So then for this guy, see, so this is one fact, and the other fact that I would write down is J of 7 equals -1, which is equal to H inverse of 7.
Okay.
Okay. And then you don't know anything about J of -1. That seems right. And H in and J of 8, you probably don't know anything about. That seems right. Do you know which ones you got? Oh, I'm looking here. Okay. And then H of J of H, that should get you back where you started, because you're applying a function to its inverse. Now, this is interesting. Do you see why D is correct?
Yeah, because they would cancel.
Okay, but the interesting thing is that is right. The problem is J of 8 is what? We don't know.
Right.
Okay, but what we do know is whatever it is, and it is something, because it basically says H and J are defined for all values of X. So we know it's something. And then when we take H of that, that's the inverse. So whatever this question mark is, H of this question mark, we know is going to bring us back to 8. So this one I thought was cute. D I thought was cute, because even though we don't know what, you'd want to say it's unknown because you don't know what J of 8 is. But even though it's unknown, when you take H, you're going to get back to the beginning. J of 4, we know. This we know. And then this stuff here, you're aware, you got corrected, is that this is just a notation thing, is when you put the -1 in that other place, it is really just the, exactly what you said here. It's 1 over. So it looks like, I mean, you got this right. If you understand it, that's very good.
Okay.
And did you have any question about it, or did you want to like?
No, I just wanted to look over it.
Okay. And this, something like this is probably a little too obscure to be on the test as such. I think it would throw people, but I thought it was an interesting, like a thought-provoking question. Like I said, when I encountered it, it was like I didn't know what to do with it, and then it was like, as I thought through it, it's like, oh, this is cute. Okay, other stuff.
Um. So in chapter 4, it was talking about like well-defined functions and non-well-defined functions or something.
Let's look. And tell me, you know, I'm really running blind here and I haven't done this. So anytime I'm doing something, or anything that I'm doing something that you're not seeing or whatever, you should be seeing like this iBook now.
Yeah.
Well, ordering, there's like functions that go up and down. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about, like non-decreasing?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay. Not terribly. Well, let me see if I can find it. Boom, 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 boom. These properties are going to be, that's probably not that. Non-decreasing, that's, but again, I'm throwing this out. I'm just guessing that this is what is this?
Oh,
that?
wait, it's in 4.1.
Okay, that I can deal with.
When it's talking about, like, recognizing well-defined functions.
Okay. Oh, look, there it is. Yep, you're right. Are the expressions below well-defined functions? Okay, let's see what it says. I mean, I'm assuming that I'm going to look and see exactly what they say here, but I'm assuming it's just a function that really, well, I mean, is correctly defined. Let me look and see. Do they use that term? I'm just going to search. So that's the first instance of it. So what do they say here? Recognizing well-defined. I don't know that that's like a serious technical term.
Okay.
But basically, to have a well-defined, I'll use it, to have a well-defined function, every element in the domain has to map to one and only one element in the target. So you wouldn't have, can you see like my cursor moving on the screen? Okay, so you wouldn't want to have W mapping to two different elements. You wouldn't want to have like a Z mapping to nothing.
So is well-defined just saying that it's one-to-one and onto?
No. Well-defined, because this function here is well-defined. It happens to not be one-to-one because both W and X map to A. And it, I take it back. I'm looking here. Look, Y is mapping to two things. So it's not well-defined. Oh, look, and it says, I'm not even looking at what it says. Look, it says right here, Y is no longer a function because Y of B and Y maps to B and Y maps to D. Okay. So if I write on this, this is probably gonna mess me up, but let me try writing on the screen. So basically, let me use it. Do I have a different color that I can choose? Let me choose that color. Okay, so that arrow there is what makes this not a well-defined function. But if we remove that, then it would be W maps to something, X maps to something, Y maps to something, and Z maps to something. So that's a fine function for this domain and this target. It's not one-to-one because both W and X map to A. And in theory, oh, look at this. See, and it's not onto when I cross out that Y to D map because D is not mapped to at all. So it's not one-to-one and not onto.
Okay.
But it is a function, and what happens is that people understand functions, and then we talk about one-to-one and onto, and then people morph into this idea. Well, if a function isn't both one-to-one and onto, then it's not really a function, and that's incorrect. And I see that. I'm going to see that a lot on the test. I'm going to say, is this function one-to-one? It's like, no, because two things map to this. Sorry. Is this a function, and they're saying, no, it's not because it's not one-to-one. Okay. So well-defined is just, oh, let me get rid of that. And the key thing, the other thing that's important for a function, and we'll say it, is that we want to specify, it's a characteristic of the mapping and the domain and the target. So this here is a well-defined function if the domain is wxyz. It's not a function if the domain were like all the letters of the alphabet, because it's only mapping a few of them, and some of them are unmapped.
Okay.
So this these additional exercises were good. They're not a complete review, but they were good, sort of a good sample. And you add this to some sort of the basic other exercises, that will put you in good shape.
Okay.
And as I said, I will be around. I set up advising appointments for tomorrow, but surprisingly, no one signed up at this moment. Sort of after, I'd have to double check. Let me double check my schedule. If anyone had any questions, I could either answer them online or in person tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, no one signed up for advising at this moment after 2:20, so I sort of could be free in the afternoon after that.
Okay.
Other stuff?
Okay. I wrote down for section 8.7. It was number 2 on the one of the Zybooks, like number 2. I think.
Okay, let's go back and look. And are you talking, do you want to look in, should I look in the Zybook or in the exercises?
The Zybook. It's participation activity, 8.7.
Great. Okay, good. That means I don't have to write on this thing. So let's do that. And I have Matt here to tell me if I'm like looking at the wrong thing and trying to click the wrong thing. Okay, and it's which participation activity?
8.7.2.
Okay, so finding recursive definitions for functions on non-negative integers. Okay, find the recursive definition that matches the non-recursive definition for each function. Okay, so here's, again, I've looked through these at one point in time, but they're not necessarily fresh. So you're getting to see, like, this is how I would look through these.
Okay.
So I'm coming here. I'm looking at as g of n. It's the sum. So g of n is a function of n. Fine. And it's the sum of the squares up until n. So when n is 1, I like sort of would sketch this thing out here. I still have my green. Actually do it this way. Here's my n, and here's my g of n. Okay, so when n is 1, it's just 1 squared is 1. When n is 2, it's 1 squared plus 2 squared, which was equal to 5. and I'll just do one more. When n is 3, am I doing this right? Oh, no, it starts from 0. Okay, but 0 doesn't matter. 0 squared plus 1 squared plus 2 squared. Okay, yeah, I should have started with 0 up here. 0 is 0. Sorry for that. And 3 would be 0 squared plus 1 squared plus 2 squared, which we can see is the previous value, right? This here is the previous value. So I already am seeing the potential recursive equivalent, plus 3 squared. So that would be 14. But what I'm doing here, when I do 4, it's going to be 0 squared, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, plus 4 squared. So it's the previous value plus 4 squared. So without even looking at the answer, I'm thinking recursively, g of n is equal to g of n minus 1 plus, I'm thinking something like n squared is probably the way it goes. Okay, so it's probably, and if you use your multiple choice techniques, g of n plus 1, so it looks like that. For n greater than or equal to 1, that's fine. And then we want to make sure, that's the thing that I messed up here. I'll just choose a different color, is when I forgot the 0. In case the 0 is 0, that would also correspond to that initial condition. So I'm hoping that if I chose that, that would be the right answer.
That makes sense.
Okay. Should we look at the next one?
Yes, please.
Is that of interest?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, am I still in this? Okay. See, I got to get out of this writing on the screen mode in order to scroll up, but I think I have enough to see there. Okay. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll write my n and h of n. And so this guy is n factorial squared. Wow. So 0 is 0 factorial squared equals 1 squared, which is equal to 1. 1 is, oh, this is going to be interesting. So 1 is 1 factorial, which is 1 squared, which is also 1. Okay, that's not too interesting yet. Here's where we're going to get interesting. We're going to get 1 times 2, right? That's 2 factorial squared. Okay, and 3 is going to be 1 times 2 times 3 squared, which is going to be 6 squared, 36. Okay, so I just have a little bit of an idea. So let me see what it's asking. Okay, so what did I do here? I'm going to look at this in terms of, let me get a different color. So how did I get, let's say, from here to here? It basically was, I had, so this guy, I'm going to say h of 3 is basically h of 2. See how I could rewrite this as 1 times 2 squared times 3 squared. See, it's basically 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3. That's when I squared it, because multiplication is commutative and associative. I could group these sort of squares in any way that I want. So it's basically h of 2 times 3 squared. that make any sense, what I just sort of scribbled?
Yes.
So I'm sort of seeing that in general, my hypothesis would be h of n is equal to h of n minus 1 times probably n squared. Now, I don't know if that corresponds. Oh, look. They did it back. Okay, n squared, h of n minus 1. So it looks to me like it's likely this one, and with h of 0 being 1, so it's probably a, or not a, I mean just the first one. Okay. That to me is a little bit tricky, but all I did is I sort of wrote out the terms and tried to look at the pattern, and then I realized the key thing is the fact that I could group this 1 times 2 times 3 squared into 1 times 2 squared times 3 squared. This kind of thing that I did over here is sort of the key. Now, one of the things that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to do it with Piazza, and now Matt, who was the Discord person?
I created the Discord.
That was you. Okay, good. So you get all the blame or credit. So I think what you were trying to do, which is laudable, is to say like, hey, I'm in the middle of working, and I have a question, and I can't just like stop and wait like 24 hours to get help. So I'd sort of want real-time help. I love that idea. And if I'm on Piazza, especially at the beginning of the semester, if someone posts a question, I like, race to my computer to answer it so people will start using it. But I'm not always at my computer. So the idea is like, what's a way that someone could post a question and get help potentially from anyone? There's a small, even though there's, there were 76 students in this class. It's hard to imagine, right? But you hardly see anyone like doing anything or answering any questions. But it would be nice to get a group of even a half a dozen students that maybe we're going to work together a certain time and we can answer each other questions. So that's why I was like, Discord looks cool for that. And I thought Slack might be a good thing. We can even use Hangouts like this and do that. So I'm up even for this last, half or third of the course. We can try and make it more interactive, so people can, working together and get help and ask questions when they need it.
Have you posted the Slack on Piazza?
Yeah, I did. I didn't do it with a lot of fanfare. Let me double check that, and you'll see. And because what was happening, I don't know. Here we go. Let me look at Slack. Here's what I said. I said this guy, and you can see my screen, I assume, right? A group of students set up a Discord. And then I said, I set up a new Slack workspace for our course. Everyone is welcome to join. Slack invite link. So this is the one. And then a number of people found. And then this guy, was this? Yeah, this was Seth. Seth asked this question. And then I was like, jumped on Slack, and he was gone. I mean, I jumped on it like a few minutes after he asked it. And then he copied this question onto Piazza. I was like, Seth, where are you? And then this thing, Slack is mentioned there. I don't know why I'll post the same message. Oh, there it is. That's all. Okay. So one of the things that I was thinking might be interesting is rather than me saying, I'll be on it, you tell me, is like whether if you did the Discord thing and you got more interest. So I could post another one about Slack. You could. I mean, we just got to get some people looking at it.
I think with Discord, a lot of students have multiple classes that they already have on Discord. So it's pretty easy for them just to add another one, and then I have them all grouped together. I think less students use Slack for things like that.
Okay.
They use it more for like clubs, and it's not really something that they just have always pulled up, but Discord kind of is.
Okay, but the problem with Discord is that, and that's what we were discussing, is that once we go through the process of answering one person's question, it basically seems to get lost to me.
Right, it does.
And so that's why I was hoping to find something.
That's kind of the biggest flaw of Discord, but the original intention of it was just pure like students to student help. So like when it's created, most students don't really expect their professors to join.
Yeah.
So usually it's just like, hey, did you guys finish this question? It's like, yeah, start with this or something. And then there's like, oh, okay, then he does it or whatever. If he has a question, he asks in. But
And
usually
generally voice that people will use or text. Will they be communicating on Discord in voice or text?
Usually text. Very rarely is it voice. I mean, you'll see voice for like video games, but for like class Discords, you're usually just going to see text-based. So usually it's not like really long conversations unless they're really confused. But usually they're just really short like conversations about a problem. But when it's like a teacher involved, then the use for threads is a lot more important to help like minimize the amount of clutter.
Okay. I am open. I'm not shy about offering my opinion, and I like the Discord. I love the real-time nature of it, and I think that's a big factor. I'm happy to stick with Discord, and it was just frustrating to me. It's like, okay, we had this great conversation. I can't remember. I think was it with you that we had that long thing?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then it's like, oh, but then all that's lost forever. And so that's why I sort of suggested Slack. I'm happy to, I'll do whatever any students who are interested. I never have the problem of too many students being interested in too many things. It's always the opposite. So if you want to do stuff on Discord, I was trying to push people over to Slack, but if you want to do stuff on Discord, I can try doing that. To me, this is an experiment as much for my other courses and for the future.
I mean, we could honestly make it a poll on Piazza and just see what people prefer. If it's Discord, if it's Slack, or if it's something else, or if it's nothing. Some people may not like it.
But the thing is, I mean, I would love to think there would be much response, but here it is, like we have this, review session and 2 people are here.
Yeah.
So I'll do, like I said, I'll do whatever, but because I guess Cal went on to Discord and I said, oh, we're trying to use Slack, so she went there and either way.
Yeah, I could probably make that a pinned message so that when people do join Discord, I can make it so that your message that says we're trying to use Slack, I can pin that in the channel so that when they join, they can see that. And they can see that if they want like immediate response from you, they can go to Slack for more homework help, or however they want to do it.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good thing. I am on Discord, but I can be low key. So maybe if people want to feel like, oh, this is something, right? That's why I asked. This is something that the professor or isn't going to be involved in. They can use Discord, and then maybe Slack is if they want my wisdom.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you could just have your own Slack and then just let the students just do the Discord if they want to.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with that for sure. I was thinking that we might be able to use Slack as in the future like a replacement for Piazza, and it's not quite. I mean, maybe I have to fool around with it a little bit more, but I think it can be used if people used it the right way and, you know, labeled things and put them in the right channels and this and that. But it's very easy to make mistakes, and it's not hard. It's not easy to fix things after the fact.
Right.
Okay, so you're now, Matt, you are coming tomorrow. What is it, Thursday night?
Yep, I'll be there.
Good. Okay, yeah. I was disappointed. There's a few people I wouldn't mind meeting that I don't get to see because of that timing conflict. And this thing, like, even though this is like some special event, you know, my attitude is with, you know, within reason for my availability, and other people are on. I can get my TAs on. I can get Professor Jerkel on, you know, let's say Slack or whatever, as well as Piazza. Anything that comes up when you're studying, you know, especially like, you know, looking through your exercises and any graded work, or if you look through the solution videos and don't understand anything, we're, you know, from now until, you know, test time, we're good. We can help, and then going forward for the same thing.
Right.
I set up, I asked my class next semester, I was assigned an online class, and I found a room that was available. And I basically asked, like, give me that room, even if it's just once a week. So this is, you know, a place that everyone, a place and time that everyone will, you know, if you want to have questions, whether or not we meet every week, but it's just a time that everyone will have. So I think that should work better.
Yeah, I think that probably would be really helpful, just to give people like a time frame. It's kind of like an office hours.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. And I'm happy, you know, I could make up a time, but, you know, I do this kind of thing, and then, you know, no one shows, no one is interested in, you know, basically it's only like, oh, the night before the test or the day before, you know, a couple of days before the test. So I sort of, I got a little jaded in trying to set these things up, if that comes through.
I would show up.
Okay, yeah. So, but that's why I said, like, tell me, you know, you guys set this up. You guys said, you know, you want help, right? And I'm here. It doesn't take much, as long as you know, as long as I'm available, and I'm pretty much available. You know, except when I'm teaching. This week was a hard one, or this time is a hard one because of the extra advising time. But, you know, I still make time.
Is the test gonna be like big on induction and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, big on induction. In other words, there will be. I expect there to be a couple of induction problems.
Okay.
Now, the way I've set it up, these are, remember, that's a test, and I'm sensitive to the fact that, you know, I want to give a sort of a breath. I basically want to test as much as I can. And so I sort of have designed it so the induction, like, none of the algebra of the induction is going to be, you know, it's going to be on the easier side, I'll say.
Okay.
And correspondingly, even if I don't get the feeling that it's true for you know, you two in particular, but even if, like, the algebra is someone's sort of not someone's strength, still just setting up, you know, here's the base case, labeling it as the base case, choosing the correct base case, and writing that down is worth something. Stating the inductive hypothesis and labeling it as such is great. Stating what I'm going to try and show in the inductive step and labeling it clearly is worth a lot. I mean, doing all that probably gets you more than half credit before you even do a lick of algebra. And then the algebra shouldn't be too hard to bring it down to the end. So I gave some what I would call like sort of heavy lifting kind of induction problems, especially the second set, with some of the math being more complex. So if you could do those, you know, you'll probably look at the at least the algebra part, not you know, that on the test, you'll say, oh, this was easier. I don't want to get myself in trouble by saying by saying that you'll find anything easy, but and this thing, okay, so what I was trying to do with WebEx, which I thought I had done in the past, and it may have been a different, I just couldn't get WebEx to work, and I have in the past, so I don't know, it looks like they disabled my account or something. But what I was hoping to do was create like a room that people could jump into, like sort of Matt was saying with the Discord, like, okay, anyone that wants to sort of work together can just jump in and be there sort of live, whether Slack provides that or Discord provides that, or you know, that may be good enough for now.
I don't think Slack is as heavy with the voice chat. I'm sure it's doable. I'm just sure it's not heavily supported.
Yeah.
But Discord is kind of that. Discord puts a heavier emphasis on voice chat.
Yeah, for sure. And I did, for the Slack that I created, there was, let me see. Oh, I put it over here. Can you still see my screen?
No, we can see you.
That was a stupid question. I'm sorry. Here's what I meant to say. Can you see this screen?
Yep.
Okay, so this guy, the stand-uply, was like a voice thing, which we've never tried. But who knows if it works or not? I don't, you know, and we could see that was just an idea to add voice to Slack. But yeah, definitely if we're going to do like an interactive thing, probably something like the Google Hangouts. If WebEx doesn't do it, the Google Hangouts, you know, I'm not using my UNCC account just because I use this for other stuff. But you guys all jumped in. I don't even know what accounts you used, but this Hangouts could be used for voice too, or for video. Doesn't even, actually, I don't even see, I can't even see what people's accounts are. It doesn't show me that. Okay. Oh, is Google Plus still? I thought Google Plus was dead. Anyway,
I had a professor that I think it might have been WebEx, but he pretty much had virtual office hours where you would come in and then you would be automatically muted, and you could like raise your hand and he could call on you and stuff like that.
Did you use it?
Yeah, we used it during that semester. It was a tough class, so I think a lot of students used that one.
Okay, well, like I said, I have tried these things without much success. What's exciting to me is even having a few students who are up for trying it. It's really, you know, not going to be the majority. But both of us, I was up for the WebEx thing, and the problem that happened. I'll show you what happened. It's real. Am I on screen share?
Yep.
So I did this, and let's see, post currently in progress, and I got this.
Yeah, I got that too.
So, oh, you did, okay. And you know what can I do? And then I tried, whatever. So, and then I just got sort of frustrated yesterday. So I just said, oh, you know what? If this comes up, I'll show. See, look, quick launch new events. Let's just do a 15-minute launch, but and it's gonna say it doesn't like me. So I thought it was just me, Cal. I guess it's both of us.
It could. The system time is.
But I've used this before, and it's been fine. Whoops. And I just take an email and I'll find out what's going on with it, or if I need to do some kind of setup thing that I can. But that's what I did. Is I created one of these things, and I didn't even see an option to just say, see, when I do quick launch, it's like it only is a duration, a maximum of 24 hours. But I thought I had like some permanent thing, and I know in the years past I did it in Hangouts. And I just had a permanent hangout room. No one ever used it, but I had it. But I'm up for that. And anything like you saw when you mentioned Discord, I was like, okay, I'll try that. Whatever anyone's interested in. Good. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I think I just need to go through the solution videos, and that the solution videos for the last test really helped.
Yeah, speed it up. You know to speed it up, right?
Yeah.
Good. Because when I recorded that, and I'm hoping the quality, the quality went up and down. It was the first year that I was doing it, and even though I didn't love some of the quality, it was like good enough. And they're giving me like more and more students and more courses, and I just haven't had the time to redo them. But if there's any interest, if there's ever anything that's not clear, let me know, and I can, explain it and maybe fix it for the future. And when I did it, I really didn't prepare a lot as I was recording them, in a sense. So I sort of talked more slowly and more thoughtfully, but then it works better, when you speed it up. I can't even watch it at normal speed. Okay, so jump in anytime. I still have the Discord, I still have the Slack, I still have the Piazza, and we'll get any questions answered, and hopefully you guys will do well on this test, especially by understanding things.
Thank you for.
Okay. And I'll follow up. I'll send you a message and just confirm like 100% that we're good for Thursday morning. The downside is you have to get up early and you'll be taking early.
It's okay.
Good. Okay, so I'll end this now. We'll see if I'll post the recording. It's going to be boring for most people, but I will keep an eye, and I'll be on campus tomorrow afternoon. If anyone wants to stop by, ideally let me know after advising.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.